Hi everyone, today we're going to have a look at how to do this bokeh or bokeh effect for watercolor backgrounds using a very simple and easy technique. To get the bokeh effect that I'm after today, I'm going to use these magic eraser sponges. You get them from any art shop or hardware store. I've cut mine into more usable sizes. So I'm going to use those because they are very good at lifting the paint off the page. Then I've got these circle stencils that I bought on Temu. They came as a set. There are so many different sizes of circles. I'm going to use 4 different sizes today. I find these are easier to use for the method that I'm using today over this circle stencil that I had, just because I found that this one is too thick and the lifting technique that I'm going to use doesn't work as well with this one. So I've had far greater success with this set. Also, because I'm going to work with one circle at a time and the sponge can so easily go from one circle to the next, you can see how I've used tape to tape off one circle on each stencil so that if I tap my sponge here, it won't start lifting something from an adjacent circle. So that just gives me a little bit more leeway to move around. It doesn't really matter the color of the background that we use. I'm going to just get a background of mixed colors down and then we'll have a look at how I get the effect. I want to fill the whole page, so I'm going to wet the whole surface of the page first. This is cotton paper and I'm positive that the bokeh effect will have a better effect on cotton paper than it would on cellulose. Just because cotton paper, the paint lifts so much easier. Then I'm just going to drop in my colors. So I will just move around and change between the greens and blues that I've got on my palette here, just to create a background to work on. So to get the bokeh effect that we're looking for here, I don't want the background layer to be still glistening wet. It will cause the stencils to make a mark on the paper. So I'm going to let this dry a little bit, probably about 80% of the way to dry, before I now start lifting color in the bokeh effect. There are some areas where it is still a little bit wet, but I'm happy to start working in the drier areas now. I will move around between the different sized stencils, so it doesn't really matter which one I start with. I am going to wet but really squeeze off the sponge. I don't want to add any water to the painting at all. In fact, I'm just going to do that to all of the pieces that I've got so that they are completely squeezed out. Alright, so they are at the ready. So I'm going to start in this area here, it's mostly dry. I'll put the stencil down. I'm going to wipe from the outside in because I don't want to push any water underneath the stencil. Then I'll use a tissue paper and lift. If there's any moisture on there, I don't want any cauliflower effect, so I'll just dab it. And I'll move around. You want to also not lift the same amount of color every time, because with the bokeh effect you do get differing intensities of the circles, so keep that in mind. If you ever get any moisture underneath, just dry it off, otherwise it's going to drop moisture onto the page. I suppose also as it dries in different degrees, you'll also do different amounts of lifting. I thought I should just let you know that at the end of June, my YouTube channel name is going to be changing to Christine McLaren Art, and you'll be able to find me on Patreon with the same name. You see, I could have done one quite a lot less white than the other. Let's try that again in a different area. Here's a bit drier. I'll work down here. I'm afraid I do have some water under the edge there. I can see I was maybe squeezing the sponge at the same time as I was wiping. So, it hasn't got onto the painting. I'm going to change to a different size circle stencil now. I found this method to be a lot more relaxing than, say, trying to manually do the circles myself, or using a paintbrush to do inside another stencil. It really just comes down to personal choice, and if you do this method, just practice with it a little bit and see what you think. It really just is down to having the right amount of moisture on your sponge and just not getting water underneath as you work around. I see this is actually the biggest size I've got. Let me do some of those. So you can see there's really no time limit on doing this bokeh effect. As long as you start at the right time when it's not too wet, you can really take your time with doing it. There's no time pressure to get it done. I suppose it might get more difficult as it gets drier, but I think until it's completely bone dry, you've got time to be able to do it. And provided you're not getting water underneath the stencil, you've done a little bit of practice so you know how to use the sponges, it really is really relaxing to do and very easy. I'm happy to leave it at that for this demonstration. You can obviously go as much or as little as you want until your background has got the fully desired effect. But for now, I'm going to leave it at that. I hope that you have found this tutorial useful. If you did, I'd appreciate if you give it a like and let me know what you thought in the comment box below. Until next time, bye for now.